Hello, everybody, and this is Kenoshi Abominita here with another episode of Project Console, episode 30, Final Explosion. But before we get into our topics, I'd like my panelist member to introduce himself.
Yo, it's me, Mr. Red Fox, owner and proprietor of BS Busters. I'm glad to be on another cast.
All right, thanks for joining the cast, and so we're gonna do these topics a little out of order. Gonna save the first two on the list, save those for the last two. So we'll start with Sonic being delisting. Sonic delisting. So apparently, because of Sonic, Sonic Origin. What is it? The
Sonic Origins.
Yeah, Sonic Origins. Just want to make. So yeah, since the new Sonic Origins game is coming out in a couple months, I think it's coming out next month. Um, Sega doesn't want you to buy the cheaper versions off of Steam or off of some of the consoles. So they're delisting those games so that people are more enticed to buy Sonic Origins.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the problem with Sonic Origins, not only is its weird uh, pre-order pre-order list like a Ubisoft game, but they're using Denuvo, which is a anti-piracy software that has been known time and time again not to work. It's been cracked several times, and I don't know when these companies are going to get the hint that yeah, expensive a lot of these expensive softwares that they keep pouring money into that hog all your resources don't actually work, and people will give it, given time, will figure out the uh, how to crack the code. So I remember, I believe it was the Nuvo, or it might have been another anti-cheat, anti-piracy software where they came out and said our software is unhackable.
Yeah, it
Just
was
like
the
what,
new.
yeah, was the Nuvo, and then what?
And it was
Then
like a day later. No, before the game came out, because they said that it was uncrackable before the game came out. And then before the game came out, like was officially released, it had been pirated. It had been pirated, and there were hacked versions already out.
yeah, yeah,
It's like, come on, man. First of all, don't ever challenge the internet. Don't. Don't challenge the internet, because every time someone challenges the internet, it fails.
yeah, yeah. And a lot of people are gonna want this game, at least for whatever reason. I mean, it is Sonic. Sonic has a pretty when it comes to 16-bit, has a pretty rich history. Uh, so they're gonna they're it's gonna be annoying playing a game that should just be able to run easily on your system, be bogged down by the software. So
Yeah,
people are either gonna try to figure out how to get rid of the Nuvo, or they're just gonna go back playing the older stuff. Because they're still obviously there's still emulation. So if you can't get out, and a lot of people who want those games, they or who really want those games have those games on other platforms, whether that
or
be
in
Steam. Yeah,
other versions of the game. Yeah. Uh, I mean, how can I put this nicely without sounding like an a hole? Well, I can't. I gotta say it. I agree with you. Those are the options that people have. There's also a third option, which is what I did. Because there's also notorious anti-cheat software for games like a lot of Epic Store games. So what I did was that I would buy the game off of the Epic Store, like not a lot, like only like two games off of Epic Store. Um, and then I would pirate the game. So I bought the game, and then because I wanted to play the game and not have it run poorly, I would pirate the game that I bought so that it would have the anti-cheat software stripped out of it or
Yeah,
disabled.
that's probably
Um,
that's what probably that's probably what a lot of people do. They really want to play something. They really want to support a franchise or a game, but the publishers are being weird about it. So like, yeah,
yeah,
fuck them. They probably buy it and then pirate it, so they
I
don't
mean,
have to deal with the anti-cheat stuff.
I had to do that with the Outer Worlds because I bought it. I double dipped on that game. I bought it first on um, Epic Game Store because I want to support Obsidian, and
Yeah,
then I bought it again on Steam. But when I played it on Epic, like it wasn't running properly, and
yeah,
my PC had the specs at the time. Like this is before I upgraded my PC. My PC even then had the specs to run this game at ultra settings, no problem. Shouldn't have
yeah.
been struggling whatsoever, and yet, due to the anti-cheat software that's on that game on the Epic Game Store, it was running like ass as AVGN says. And
Yeah.
so I had to pirate it so that I could play it without it using extra system resources. Um, and then I think the same thing happened to another game that I got for free off of. Well, no, it wasn't free. It was like on sale for like $29.99 on Epic Game Store. Like you shouldn't have to do that if you want to play your games.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to buy a game. It was Saints Row the Third, the remastered edition. Like I shouldn't have to buy a game and then pirate the game that I bought so that I can play it without it running like ass on my. Because what would happen is that like I would start playing the game, the legitimate game that I paid for. I would start playing the game, and then after about like 20 minutes, the game would start slowing down, like slowing down tremendously. Now, Saints Row the Third, even the remastered version, is still not a like really hard game to run on the
Okay.
setup that I have. So the issue was because I have at the time I had upgraded my CPU from a 2700 to a 3700, and I had and my GPU was a 5700 XT. So spec wise, I had more than enough to, and I have at the time I had 32 gigs of VRAM, not VRAM, 32 gigs of normal RAM of DDR4. So I had no like it wasn't this. It wasn't my PC. It was the friggin' it was either A, the game was unoptimized to run, but I have the same game on Steam and it runs perfectly fine. So it
Yeah.
wasn't that. It was it was the DRM stuff. So basically, I had to pirate the game that I bought for yeah, it was $39.99 because it was running like absolute garbage thanks to anti cheat software
Yeah.
or sorry, anti-piracy software. And I'm like, why should I have to do that for a game that I bought?
Yeah.
That
Exactly.
makes no sense.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Why should the people that are legitimately buying your game be punished for buying your game? I never understood the logic behind this anti cheat stuff. I I figure you would do it in the reverse, uh, for people
pirate
who
it and then and then buy it, or just pirate it. Yeah.
no, like create a system where, you know, instead of when you actually purchase the game, the Nuvo is automatically turned off once
Yeah.
you show proof of purchase. But if you pirate the game, if you have an illegal copy of the game, the Nuvo is turned on. So now you have to figure out how to crack the game yourself or get a special code to turn off the Nuvo, making pirating the game more inconvenient. It's just
Yeah.
it's just really
Yeah.
weird. Doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's bass backwards, as they say,
Yeah,
because you're punishing people for doing the right thing. you're punishing people for buying for buying a game the right way, properly. Like why are you publishing people? Why are you punishing people for doing things the right way? It's kind of like if you work a job at retail, right? And like this is why I get annoyed when I see people working at retail places and they're like, so and so was stealing, and like someone's always surprised. Well, why did I get fired when I tried to stop that person? You want to know why? Because the company doesn't want to get sued. Because if you as a security guard or a helpful employee stop someone from stealing from that retail location, okay, and that person is injured and they sue the store, they have the legal right to sue that store and get a lot of money out of a payoff. And they don't want that. So you know what? They just let the person steal it because the store is insured for theft. And I mean, look, it's not your stuff anyway. Why are you like it's like you punish people for trying to do the right thing. It's like, yeah, I bought this game, I want to enjoy it, but if you're gonna put like anti-piracy software on things that were bought legitimately, I mean, you're right. There should be a thing that like check like, okay, if you want to have anti-piracy software, here's what you do. You have a little thing that checks the code. Like every time I mean, I don't know about physical games because I know physical games had DRM back in the day too. But like digital games, here's what you do: you put a little you generate a unique code for that game when it's downloaded.
Yeah.
Okay, and you put it into a database. Okay, each code would be keyed to a database of codes generated by whatever storefront like you bought that game from. So if you bought it off of Steam, a code for that storefront. Epic, a code for that storefront. EA, a code for that storefront. Whatever. Okay, and you buy your thing and it says, oh, okay, this is a legit code. So the DRM has been disabled. And that's it. That's all you need to do. So if a game is pirated and it's using a code that was not generated legitimately, then the anti-piracy software kicks in, and then let the freaking uh you know let the friggin' go at it, have at it, but don't punish people who bought your game legitimately. Um, you know, yeah,
Yeah.
I wanted to support the publishers. Well, too bad for you. Bend over. Let me kick you in the butt.
The fact that you have to go out of your way to pirate a game to get a version that's functional, that's doesn't make any sense. Makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
gaming.
Yeah.
That's gaming these days.
Yeah. Everything is bass backwards, and yeah. Anyway, yeah. Anything else you want to say about Sonic being delisted before we move on to the next uh topic?
Well, except for the fact that they're all doing this, people are acting like this is just a Sega problem, but Nintendo did it with a lot of their classic games.
Yeah.
Sony's doing it. That'll segue into something later on we're going to talk about. This is not a Sega problem. This is an industry wide problem. That's all I'll
Well,
say on it.
yeah, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. You couldn't. I think they pulled that from the Wii U eShop, and I
Yeah.
think they tried to make it harder to get like a physical copy off
Because
of.
it was $20. It was
Yeah.
$20 on the Wii U eShop, and you could get it used for like 30 or 40 bucks. So they could turn around and charge people $60 for what I consider to be Retro's attempt to make a Donkey Kong Country game like Rare. But it's they gave it an attempt. That's all I'll say about it. They tried really hard.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say about it.
And and I don't know if they did anything with Mario Kart, but they kind of just well, Mario Kart 8 is just a bit of a sore spot because it's like you get the Switch Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. They put all the goodies and stuff on the Switch version that probably should have also been on the Wii U version. But what are you gonna do?
Look, I understand the Wii U was failing and it wasn't making as much money as they wanted. I understand, but that was the highest selling game on the Wii U. And the least they could have done was make sure those people were happy by giving them the full experience. But,
Yeah.
you know, it is what it is.
Yep. So our next topic is Lego Mario 18 plus set uh, leaked out. Apparently, the set's supposed to have a little over 2,800 pieces, so around 3,000 pieces. People are
Woo boy.
people are speculating on what it could be. Um, I don't know. Could they be doing a Super Nintendo version of the last Lego the NES Lego set with Super Mario World? But the Super
Could be
Mario World,
Princess Peach's castle or Bowser's castle or something like that.
yeah, yeah. The Super Mario World has more colors, so I can definitely see more bricks. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. Like I've seen these Mario sets and it's like these look cool, but I don't really feel like putting all this together. Like I like the question block one that they had, and that came out a few months ago. I was like, yeah, this looks cool, but I don't know if I want to put this together. I don't really have space where I can just you know uh, dump a whole bunch of Legos out and then just like put it together little by little and then come back to it.
Well, Lego sets, like Lego sets are like Warriors games, in my opinion, uh, where you have to be a real fan of a Warrior game in order to like that Warrior game. You know, like if you're a Berserk fan, you're gonna like the Berserk Warrior game. If you're a Fist of the North Star fan, you're gonna like the Fist of the North Star Warrior game. But if you don't like those particular IPs, you're really not gonna want to play a Warrior game if you aren't into Warrior games. Well, I mean, it's the same thing with Lego. Like, if you aren't a fan, like I'm one of those people who, when I was a kid, really liked Star Wars. So when I got a Lego Death Star and built that thing over a summer with a friend of mine, I was really happy with myself. I'm one of those people who, has a Lego X-wing, a Lego Millennium Falcon. Um, like that's that special type of fan. I'm one of those people. Like I'm a DC fanboy, and I like and I like Batman. That they came out with the Lego Batmobile, and I gave serious thought to buying it. But then I realized I don't have the patience to put that together.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's just a vehicle. So I mean, like if you're a huge Lego fan, if you're a huge Mario fan, like huge into Mario, then this is for you. If you're not, then it's going to be like, I'm good.
yeah.
I don't need it. I'm
Those yeah, I've seen those cars like some of the sports cars and stuff, and those are very intricate. Like it's they even put the engine and stuff together. It's like man,
Oh yeah, those Lego Advanced sets.
yeah,
They're called the Advanced sets, where it's like they come with like specialty, those thick specialty, like science project rubber bands, like science engineering project rubber bands that you can create like a rubber powered engine inside the vehicle, and it's got like you put batteries for lights and stuff.
yeah.
I
Those are crazy.
I did one of those once, and I was like, yeah, I'm good.
I'm not doing
I don't
this
need to do
again.
another one.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't that. Actually, creating it was okay. The problem with the thing was, at the time, I was living with someone who didn't understand space and leaving stuff alone,
Um.
and they went in my room and they broke it,
Oh yeah. You
and I was like,
for as many pieces as those things probably have like several thousand pieces. Yeah.
yeah,
You that'd be highly tempted to choke them out.
yeah. I mean, even if it's not like I got mad when I moved and like I packed my Lego Millennium Falcon really well and it didn't break. I still have it somewhere around here, and I have my Lego X-wing, and one of the S foils broke on my Lego X-wing, and I was kind of upset about that, but it was an easy fix. So imagine, and like it took me about a week for the Lego X-wing and like 2 weeks for the Lego Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
It took me about a month to do that Lego Advanced vehicle.
Oh no.
And they
Oh
broke it,
no.
and the way they broke it, it wasn't like, oh, this is an easy fix. It's like, oh, this is irreparably broken. Like I would have to go and buy new parts from the Lego store, which is an expensive place to buy things from. And
No.
I was like, I'm not doing that again. The person who did it no longer lived. Well, they were there for a short period of time, so uh, where I was living. So I'm like, okay, I'm like, but I commend myself. I didn't slap anyone. I
No.
didn't backhand
No.
anyone. And unlike Will Smith, when I hit another man, I don't do that open hand female slap. I backhand people who I feel contempt for. And I didn't resort to violence. I wanted to, but I didn't. I was like,
uh,
hey man, what's up with that? It's
yeah,
like,
I
come
know.
on, man.
I know it feels like to have your stuff broken or stolen by other people. You just want to, you just want to grab them by the throat and shake them violently.
The good, it wasn't done maliciously. This person was one of those people who didn't grow up with really nice stuff, and
Oh,
like when people don't grow up with nice stuff, they don't appreciate other people's nice stuff because
yeah,
they don't have because they don't have any context in with which to uh they have no context with which to think about it. So,
yeah,
you know, tis what it is.
yeah, yeah. So, let's see. And for our next topic, Sony is starting to care more about their legacy products, legacy software. They have they started creating a team of people to to look into backwards compatibility. So, you know, you could see we could see Sony probably not to the extent of Microsoft um, create a system where you can uh, play a lot of your older games, but I'm sure it's not going to be through the disc. I'm sure you either have to, you know, re-download them from the store. So, but yeah, it was whatever his name, the guy who's the head of PlayStation now. You know, he's just he went out and said a couple of years ago, it's like, ugh, why would you want to play those old games? They're just old. And they don't look as nice. It's like
Like you don't get it, do
you don't get it. It's
you?
like I was talking to a guy yesterday. I went to a shop. Uh, a friend came into town and went to a shop. I was talking to the cashier. He's only like 23. He's like, yeah, I got a Super Nintendo. I like to play retro games. And he was I was just I brought up the fact that the thing about older games is they had those limitations, and they had to figure out how could they do a lot with just a little bit.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and
Well, in hindsight, because when we were playing those games, we didn't think about the limitations. We thought about how amazing the stuff they were able to do.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
but you know, I mean, let's tell the truth. Let's speak. Let's get down to brass tacks and get the BS out of the way. The fact of the matter is that Sony, like, they're saying that they're doing something about backwards compatibility, but the only thing what this really is that they want to do something like Nintendo's doing with the online. They they want to basically with their online library, and they basically want to like instead of having physical backwards compatibility or emulation on your hardware that you spent $500 on, What they want to do is they want to basically have like a virtual console, an online library for PS3 and PS2 games that they'll charge you like $10-15 for games that if you for most of those PS2 games you can still find physical copies of them for like under 10-15 bucks even now because
Yeah,
they printed so many of those damn discs.
yeah.
Um,
So many of the more popular games that you think would be super expensive are actually fairly cheap on like used marketplaces because again, like you said, they printed so many discs.
for the PlayStation.
Yeah,
Now GameCube, yeah, a lot of those GameCube games are the prices exploded because the GameCube was like second or third place for the sixth gen, depending on who you ask.
yeah,
But the PlayStation, the PS2, PS3, there's tons of those. I mean, I guarantee you go to someone's house, they're using some of those discs for coasters right now.
yep,
So, I mean, what this is about is that Sony wants to charge people an arm and a leg to play these games. Like, hey, we're bringing back these PS2 classics, but they're going to be $20 a pop or $30 a pop, something like that, some ridiculously overblown price.
yeah, yeah,
Because the thing is that people want like the days of you just releasing a console that just does one thing is over. People don't want that anymore. People want consoles that can do multiple things.
yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah, as much as
um,
as much as that hurts people's feelings, because I definitely know feelings get
people get
hurt when you
salty about it.
say stuff like that. But
They need Vaseline to put on their butt because it's chapped because you
yeah,
say that. But people want consoles to do other things. People want a console that has a web browser so they can check on the internet. People want a console that also has YouTube and Hulu and Netflix and HBO Max and Paramount. Like people want those apps. Why? Because why should people constantly have to switch devices when they want to do something?
yeah,
Why? Why? Why?
yeah.
Um,
And not to mention, you got a lot of these kids that grew up with iPhones and tablets, and they were able to play everything that they owned from one iPad. Going from one iPad to their iPhone or to their new iPad, and now even to their MacBooks. You have people that started playing PC games maybe a few years ago at the last few years of the seventh generation. Um, they're used to even when you upgrade your rig, your motherboard, you still have access to those old games that you got prior to when you had your new hardware. So people are used to have been trained to it's like, well, even though I got new hardware, I can still use the software that I was using with the older hardware. So
yeah, yeah.
that's where we're at.
I mean, I think the new people, like the younger people, like the convenience of it. Like, I mean, not the convenience, but that's what they're used to. And I think people in our age group are just like, it's convenient. Like, I don't like it's great that I don't have to switch through. Like, the Wii Virtual Console was great because I could basically experience multiple generations of consoles with one console.
Yeah,
Like because the thing is, like, look, I'm a gamer. I'm a game collector. Well, I'm not a collector. I own multiple, like, older generation retro consoles, and I have like two CRT TVs. And I'll tell you right now, switching. Yeah, I have a switcher that you can hook five consoles into. You can plug it into the switcher and switch between them. But I have more than five consoles. So
Yeah.
I'm still switching stuff out.
Yeah. No.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's very convenient to have a console like the PS3 where it had PS1 and PS2 games on there, plus PS3 titles. Same thing with the PS4. It's really convenient when consoles have some form of like a older library of games where I don't have to be hooking stuff up that have been optimized to run with modern development ideas in there. That's great. And it's not a dirty word for backwards compatibility, even though people like I know these console makers are like, well, you need to be playing our new stuff. No, I don't.
Yeah.
You know, as a gamer, I'll play whatever the heck I want to play, and you can't make me play your new stuff if I don't want to play it. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah. So on to our main top.
Yes.
So on to our. Well, is there anything else you'd like to say about Sony caring more about their older stuff?
I wish them good luck. I hope they can implement it without screwing over their consumer base. But knowing Sony, I mean, you know, they're look. Businesses don't do stuff like this just out of goodwill. Everything a business does is to make more money. So clearly, they're going to do some shady stuff, or at least some stuff that I'm going to be like, that's very anti-consumer.
So a few days ago, it was Friday. Might have happened before, but I saw this. I saw this happen on Friday. Yuji Naka went full nuclear on Twitter after after he was released from his gag order and could now talk about why Balan Wonderworld or is it Wonderland? I think it's about Balan Wonder. Uh,
It's Balin. Here, let me check because I don't want to. Let's get it right so then people won't say you're talking about you don't know what the hell you're talking about. It is it's called Balin's Wonderworld.
Balan's Wonderworld. I keep
Yes.
wanting to call it Wonderland for some reason, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, Balan's Wonderworld came out last year to less than stellar, uh, less than stellar reviews. It was it was the lowest reviewed game of that year, uh, both from critics and from players. And you know, we just thought Yuji Naka made a dud. Like some of us probably thought he was just trying to make a quick buck, but it turns out now Square Enix rushed that game out the door. He fought. He fought uh, to delay the game and to make it the product that he wanted it to be, but Square Enix wasn't having that, and they took him off director. And
Yep.
after the game was finished, he had a gag order put on him. He sued Square Enix, lifted the gag order, and was and went all out, basically basically saying that Square Enix does not care about their customers, which due to recent happenings, uh, both
Yeah,
the
not really surprising.
not really surprised.
I
Only
mean,
the
did he lie? Now Yuji Naka's hands aren't perfectly clean. He's done some dirt himself. But when you're a developer, all you have, like I've said this in numerous podcasts, not just this podcast, my own podcast, um, Liger's podcast. I've said this in numerous podcasts. All a developer has is their reputation.
yeah
That's it.
yeah
And once your reputation is shot, it's really hard to come back when you're a developer.
yeah
And like basically, like Square Enix went in there and they basically put a game out there. They saw it was a mess, and rather than give them time to make it into something good, they just kind of they used Yuji Naka's name to sell the game because that was a big selling point. Oh, it's it's designed by Yuji Naka, and then they slapped a gag order on him, so he's basically taking all these hits to his reputation.
Yeah.
Um, and he couldn't say anything about it.
Yeah. You
Couldn't
can.
you know?
Yeah.
Couldn't even defend himself.
Yeah.
So yeah. What do I think? I think that Square Enix. I think Square Enix. I think Yuji Naka. It's good that he got to defend himself. Because hey, look here. Do I think everything he said is absolutely true? No. I think that there's an old saying. In regards to a confrontation, there's your side, the other person's side, and then there's the truth. I think that if you take both of what both parties are saying, that the truth is probably
Somewhere in
a
between.
synthesis. It's a synthesis between both viewpoints.
Yeah.
But do I think that that game? Do I think that Yuji Naka really wanted that game to come out well? Yeah. No developer wants a game to come out like trash.
Yeah.
Do I think that game had enough time to come out well? No, because they announced it in 2020. It came out in 2022.
Yeah. That game definitely needed probably an extra year and a half, from what
I
I've
mean, I
seen.
wouldn't say an extra year, but maybe another 6 months.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
um, and I mean, like Yuji Naka said, there were bugs in the game that I told RSS that it needed to be fixed. And when I went and said, "Look, this needs to be fixed," they kicked me out and they stripped me of my duties and slapped a gag order on me. Which means, and I'm pretty sure he told people, "Look, this needs to be fixed." Because I mean, look, you say whatever you want to about Yuji Naka. The man's been in the business a long time.
Yeah.
If he's gonna say this needs to be fixed, he knows what he's talking about. Nah, nah, you just. Which tells me Square Enix knew that game was failing. They knew
Yeah.
that game wasn't doing well. And I've watched a review of someone who actually played through Balan Wonderworld and read the prequel novel for it. And from people that I've talked to who've actually given that game a chance, they say there is a good game in there. The problem is that it wasn't given enough time.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I mean, it looked like a modern day Dreamcast game, but too bad. Too bad Square Enix had their head so far up their butt they just couldn't. They just couldn't make it happen.
yeah, they didn't give it enough time. They
Yeah.
just basically kind of, you know, that game probably needed another 6 months.
Something seriously is wrong with that company. I mean, but we had obviously Balan Wonderworld. We're talking about. You had um, Babylon's Fall.
Yeah,
We had the Avengers thing. Um,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy, which was a decent game. It's just didn't get the push that it deserved.
Yeah.
It's just like what's going on over
Well,
there.
I mean, clearly they keep on for many years. Square Enix tried to grab the Western market instead of realizing that people like Square Enix because they like their Japanese style games. They don't want them trying to make Western games. And they couldn't get it. They kept on trying to, like Sisyphus, they kept on trying to push that rock to the top of the hill and then getting upset that it kept on rolling back down again. And I'm like, why can't you figure out that people for people in my age group, I don't know about your age group, Kenoshi, but I think we have overlap here. When someone says Square Enix, we're thinking JRPGs.
Yeah.
We're not thinking Western games. And yet, for some reason, they spent all this money to get all these Western studios. And I'm like, why? Y'all could have taken that money and made tons of JRPGs. Which is what you're good at. Well, used to be good at. They aren't good at making JRPGs anymore.
Nah, you think
But they used to be good at
you
it.
think your Final Fantasy Chrono Trigger, Secret of Mana, uh, Dragon. Well, that's Enix, not Square. Not SquareSoft.
Well, I mean, Enix had a drop in quality, but the drop in quality for Enix is nowhere close to the drop in quality that we had under uh,
Square.
Square.
Square. Yeah.
Yeah, because Final Fantasy, like the Enix drop in quality is like going from like an 80, it's like going from like a 91 or a 90 to like an 88. Yeah, your grade went down, but you still got a B.
Yeah.
You know? Whereas the drop in quality for Final Fantasy is like going from like an 86 to like a 72.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, your grade dropped. You dropped two whole letter grades. You
Yeah.
dropped from a low B past a C to almost an F. It's like
And the Final Fantasy VII remake, I forgot to mention that. That also came out uh, pretty haphazardly on PC. Like it was missing all sorts of graphical features and not to mention the game had frame rate limitations. That port was a mess. So yeah, Square Enix is definitely not firing on all cylinders. That's for sure.
yeah, I mean maybe a quarter of a cylinder,
Yeah.
maybe like a half a cylinder. I mean, the fact of the matter is that what we thought when we heard that SquareSoft and Enix were merging was, oh man, they'll be able to make some of the best JRPGs in the industry. That is not what happened. What happened was is that Enix started farming Dragon Quest out to third-party developers to make the games for them. Hence why Dragon Quest 8 and 9 are really good, and then 10 just never came to America, and 11 is kind of underwhelming. Um, Actually, no, 11's just really basic. It's a basic Dragon Quest. Um, and then you go to Dragon Quest, and then you go to hence why Final Fantasy kind of took a nosedive off of a cliff face. Because I mean, you cannot play Final, like even if you're someone like me who I don't think Final Fantasy 7, 8, or 9 are really that good. You cannot play the fifth gen of Final Fantasy games, or the fourth gen of Final Fantasy games, or even the sixth gen of Final Fantasy games, and say that the seventh gen and eighth gen Final Fantasy games are anywhere close to as good as what we had back in the day. You can't, not with a straight face. Um, so I don't know.
Yeah, and it's a possibility that Square Enix could have realized that maybe Western development hasn't fair, hasn't really fared them well, and I found it kind of interesting. I know it's a coincidence. It's just a coincidence, but I just found it interesting that a few days after Yuji Naka blew up on Twitter, uh, they announced that they were selling basically their entire Western development over to Embracer Group, aka THQ Nordic.
Well, THQ Nordic is only is one of the things they Embracer Group bought. Really, it's just Embracer Group in general, which Embracer Group has its hands in many pies. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
It's definitely. I don't think that what Yuji Naka did is really the catalyst for this, because
Yeah, yeah.
this
I
takes
don't.
this
I'm not.
takes months. This probably was months in the making.
Yeah, I know. I get. I understand that it wasn't the catalyst because again, these conversations do uh,
Yeah.
and this is something Square Enix has been wanting to do for a while. Uh,
Yeah.
so I mean, I just found it funny. That's all. But yeah, so they sold their Square Enix headquarters. They sold a bunch of IPs like Tomb Raider, Legacy of Kain, Deus Ex, uh, For all that for $300 million, which I just I just thought that was kind of cheap, just because those
The amount of other
franchise.
stuff that's there.
Yeah, with the stuff that's there, I'd figure they at least get a couple billion. But no, I just I maybe they really just wanted to get rid of it for some reason.
What? Uh, I've been watching a podcast from Bellular News, and the guy who was on it made a point that says they basically want to go into NFTs and blockchain and stuff like that, and 300 million gives them a lot of cash to get that off the ground.
Yeah,
And they basically not only did they get rid of those IPs, but they also got rid of offloaded like almost a little over 1,100 employees over
yeah,
to Embracer Group. So that's look, those are people that they don't have to pay salaries to. Those are people that they don't have to pay pensions for. Like that's a lot of monkeys off of their back.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So now they can take that money and put it towards NFTs and other stuff. I mean, the reason like and I'm not making excuses for Square Enix's half-assed ports. But maybe did anyone ever think that the reason that Square Enix never really were releasing those piss poor PC ports of their classic games and like it's like this is was because they didn't have the money to pay a quality porting studio to really put those games to optimize those games on PC?
Oh, yeah, that's also a possibility. And I also have heard, this was years ago, that the Square Enix West has not really gotten along with Square Enix East. So Square Enix is, the Western divisions of Square Enix have not really gotten along with the Japanese division of Square Enix. So
It makes sense. Cause I mean, basically, I mean, like, okay, for those of you listening, think about it like this. This little factoid: Tomb Raider, the three Tomb Raiders, have sold more than like I forget which big game Square Enix came out with, like 36 million, right? And yet, like Square Enix is like like your game sold 36 million, 38 million, ours sold 36 million. It's still not enough.
yeah,
Like no matter what the Western did, it's like they I think the first Tomb Raider sold like 15 million overall. That still was not good enough.
yeah, that was
Like
still
the
not.
first Deus Ex sold 10 million. That was a flop for them. And I'm like, how like
Are you overpaying your programmers? Are you blowing your budgets? I mean, look, Final Fantasy 15 blew its budget twice.
yeah, but I mean that's not, those are the people who made that. That's not, you know,
Well, what I'm trying to say is, I wonder if these games blew their budget. Maybe not twice, but at some point during development. I wonder if they blew their budget, and I wonder if that was part of the reason why they were disappointed with the sales, because something's going on when you sell 15 million copies of a game and you're like, it was a failure. Like, you I don't I I like you have indie developers that are happy if they can sell 100,000.
and if they sell a million, it's a big deal.
Yeah. So this I just like, something's going on with your financials. If you can't, if you're selling 15 million copies of a game, and you're just kind of like, oh, I just can't pay the mortgage this week. Gonna have to really tighten our belts.
I mean, here's what I'm going to say. I think that Square Enix has been run atrociously. I think that aside from a few people there who are working there, like a few executive, like Like basically, it seems like it seems like they keep on trying to find a big hit that's going to make them a lot of money without them having to put a lot of effort into it, and that's not how you're successful in business. like like you gotta get your grind on. Like, they keep on trying to, like Chocobo GP Racing is basically a mobile game
Yeah.
that they brought to consoles, and that it has the same egregious mobile pricing, and that game's gonna bomb too.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's like, why can't you guys just make good games and sell them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's like they can't do it. It's like the concept of making a good game, everything has to be monetized out of the rear, and has to have all these weird, things added to it. And I'm like, why? Why are you doing this? There
Yeah.
was no need for this. Like if okay, Square Enix, you want to make a lot of money? Okay, here's what you do. Okay, take the original Chrono Trigger. Okay, the original Chrono Trigger. Okay, remake it in a 3D engine. Keep the same cell shaded graphics, just remake it in a 3D engine. Okay, take that engine and make a direct sequel to Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Except make it bigger and more expansive,
Yeah.
right? Like if Chrono Trigger is you going through the timeline of a single world, Guardia, the sequel to Chrono Trigger would be you going through multiple timelines of other dimensions.
Yeah.
Do that. Like, I guarantee you make that would sell. I would not. That would be that. I would not be surprised if those two games sold over 50 million combined.
Yeah.
Easy, easy. Do that, and people will buy your friggin' games. Okay. And the second game, you could have expansions for. It's like, hey, $30, and we're adding another segment to the game that's going to include 3 new worlds with their own timelines and new characters you can recruit to in your party, with their own quest chains and side quests and everything like that. People would go gaga for that. It's like Square Enix is like run by people who don't want to make money.
Yeah. They hate money.
It's like, no, no, we gotta chase this trend instead of doing stuff. Do the stuff that made you money in the first place. Stop trying to be all like everybody else. You're not gonna look. You guys don't have the resources or the technical know-how to make a Fortnite or a Overwatch or uh, a Destiny. Okay, you don't have that. You guys are lucky you got Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
Okay, you lucked up into that one.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah. He got some people that actually cared about making that game.
and actually interact it with the community. How can we make this better? That you want to know why Final Fantasy 14 has thrived? Because you had people involved with work on the game who actually cared about the user experience.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They better be.
That's how they turned that game around.
Yeah. They better be treating those people well over there at Square Enix. So that. But
But no, no, we got to
yeah.
chase blockchain and NFTs. It would be a good thing if video games weren't fun and you could play to earn. And I'm like, so you want to turn video gaming, which is a recreational hobby, into a job?
Yeah.
That's basically what. Like, if you're playing video games in order to earn money, that's a job.
Yeah.
That's a fucking job. Yeah, that's it. And you mention that to people. People are like, oh no, it's like, no, that's the definition of a job.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and like, well, games shouldn't necessarily be fun. Are you insane?
Yeah.
If a game isn't fun, then why play it?
Yeah.
Look, if sex was painful, no one would have sex.
Yeah. Exactly.
People
Exactly.
do that because it's fun and
Yeah.
it feels good.
Yep.
Okay? People don't want to do people don't want to do recreational activities because it's not fun.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah, but with I was thinking like with all the stuff that's come out this past few years about these companies like Ubisoft, Activision Blizzard, um, all these acquisitions that are happening right now, and the stuff that you know stuff that Yuji Naka was saying about Square Enix. Yeah, I just feel that. No, actually, I don't. So, what do you think? Do you think this is culminating into a transformation in the gaming industry that could ultimately be for the better, or is this just us, or is the industry
More of
just
the same.
or is the industry just rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic? Like,
You know that
yeah,
old bumper sticker, same shit, different day?
yeah,
That's what's going on. Like everyone, I saw a thing where someone's like, well, now that these now that Square Enix has given up these IPs and these studios, everything's going to be okay. I'm like, look, Embracer Group is an investment group. Nobody spends money like that just so that they can get games get made. Okay, this is about making money.
yeah,
Okay, which means you're going to get the same level. It might not be. Listen. It might not be to the same degree, but things aren't going to get much better for these people either. All right, I don't think. Okay, what I think's going to happen. This is just my own little personal belief. What I think's going to happen. My own little personal belief. I think that Embracer Group is going to get these groups. They're going to put them to work uh, making games, right? And like they'll probably market these games properly because Square Enix never marketed a lot of those games well. Like Deus Ex wasn't marketed well.
right,
Um, Tomb Raider wasn't marketed well. Like really, I'm going to be honest with you. The Tomb Raider reboot shouldn't have even been called Tomb Raider because like as someone who played Tomb Raider back in the day and this new Tomb Raider, fucking nothing in common between the two games.
yeah. I feel that those games were. That's a possibility, just a guess, but it's a possibility that they were supposed to be something else. But
Yeah,
somebody from Square Enix is like, oh, we can't sell this. How about you just guys call it Tomb Raider?
yeah,
Like, well, okay, we'll
because
just work around that then.
those games, like, okay, the original Tomb Raider was kind of like The Legend of Zelda, except you didn't have mythological monsters most of the time. It was a lot of puzzles and adventure gaming type stuff and gymnastics and, like, push puzzles and, like, simple, like, block puzzle stuff like that. With a little bit of combat and a lot of, like, oh, let me figure out how to get into this room and do this type of stuff. And that's what it was. And it was good for what it was. Okay. It didn't start going downhill when they tried to take it out of that. Okay. And then the new Tomb Raider felt like female Uncharted, except you get to see Laura Croft die horrifically
Yeah,
when you failed.
yeah,
I didn't really like it that much, and I know people are like, well, yeah. Look, I played the first Tomb Raider reboot game. I got it for free with my graphics card, and I played it, and I got through about half of it, and I was like, I don't like this, and I uninstalled it and never played it again. And I went back and I tried to play the second and third one, and I was like, I don't like any of these games. They're terrible. I don't
uh,
like this version of Lara Croft. I like my Lara Croft busty and impossibly stacked.
yeah,
Also, puzzles. Also, puzzles.
yeah. I
And
did like the I thought the first I thought the at least to me those games were more interesting than Uncharted. Uh,
yeah,
but at the same time. I can see why somebody who grew up with the original Tomb Raider probably wouldn't like that game because it loses all the charm. You get rid of all the charm of Tomb Raider. It doesn't even. It's like it's one thing to reboot your franchise and to keep the spirit of the old of the old franchise, and then it's another thing to reboot the franchise and completely suck that spirit away. It's like, well, this is this
It
isn't
doesn't even feel like it.
yeah,
It
it
doesn't
doesn't
even
even
feel
feel
like
like it.
it in the
Yeah,
same genre. Yeah, I mean that's the problem with the new Tomb Raider for me is like I'm playing it and I'm like this feels like someone took Far Cry in terms of the physics engine where you can like light stuff on fire and start fires and stuff and how janky Far Cry is and then combined that with Uncharted. That's what the new Tomb Raider games felt like to me.
yeah,
Pretty engine, but I'm like I don't like the feel of this game. I don't like this character. Um like I just no. Um and I mean, I liked Deus Ex, but like, I'm not one of those people who kneels at the altar of the Deus Ex, reboot games that they did. I think that the Deus Ex reboot games, the first one is janky as hell. Um, it's got more content than the second game because the second game is streamlined in order to get, uh, like the first game, you're traveling around a city. The second game, you're stuck in a hub tower, and then you leave the tower to go other places. So they really pared that second game down.
yeah,
And then they did like a spin-off to that game that was like I mean, you can basically see how um, Square Enix basically squeezed their Western studios, those IDOS studios, into the ground. They squeezed them. They squeezed them into the damn ground. It was like, oh well,
So how long did they own those companies? Because were they always owned by?
no,
Yeah,
no.
that's what.
They all used to be independent, and then Square Enix bought them.
Yeah, that's what.
Um, Here, let me look at because I don't wanna Square Enix. How long did Square Enix own IDOS? I think they bought them in uh 2009. I think.
Oh, okay. So it's rather. I
And let
mean,
me
it
look.
was well 13 years ago.
Yeah. So I mean, they kept on trying to push that rock up that hill for many years, over a decade.
Yeah,
Yeah, 2009. They kept on pushing that rock up the hill, trying to get it to be a thing, and it wasn't happening. It just wasn't happening.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And I don't think like there's rumors that Sony wants to buy Square Enix, which I'm like, yeah, they could, but Sony only has 10 billion cash.
yeah. Why would you? Yeah, why would you do that?
I mean, they could. Well, Square Enix is, I think, worth like 7.3 billion, so they could buy them. But I'm like, if I'm Square Enix, I'm like, okay, I'm bought by Sony. But the problem is that Square Enix makes a lot of their money. Yeah, they make a lot of their money off of Sony, but they also make a lot of money by putting their stuff on other stuff.
Yeah,
So it's like, you know, what I think is going to happen with Square Enix is they're going to stay independent They're going to stay as the Japanese third party for maybe another 5 years. They're going to take this. They're going to take this Embracer Group money and they're going to use it to spin off NFTs and blockchain. And if that doesn't work, then they're going to get bought by Sony or someone
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Although I tell you what would be a coup if Nintendo bought Square Enix.
Oh, that would be
Because Nintendo
hilarious.
does have a lot of money sitting in the bank too.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
They're like, yeah, Final Fantasy, it's exclusive, bitches.
Oh man.
You wanna play Kingdom Hearts 3?
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
That's
But that's my own personal opinion. I could be wrong. Anyway, what are your thoughts on it?
um honestly, I don't I just think it's just like you said. I just think they're just rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. Um, I think there will be people that will get fired. There will be people that will leave with a golden parachute. But I don't think anything's going to. I don't think anything's going to change entirely. You know, people saw a Spawn Wave video today, and he was talking about hoping that maybe we'll see remakes of these favorite of these games or remasters of these games. Like, yeah, don't hold your breath. You know.
Normally I would agree with you, except THQ Nordic has already started. Like they did a remake of Destroy All Humans last year. They're doing Destroy All Humans 2 this year. So we could see remakes, like we could see old games like redone in new engines brought back.
Yeah.
Because it seems like Embracer Group, like a lot, like yeah, they bought Gearbox, and that's a AAA studio, but they also have a lot of AA, single A, indie studio, like AA and single A studios underneath their belt too.
So 2K
So,
2K sold Gearbox to Embracer Group. No, they were making 2K.
uh, or was it Take Two? I can't remember. And I think 2K is
Or Take Two.
yeah, Take Two. Yeah, Take Two sold it. Take Two was like, yeah, you can have Gearbox, or maybe Take Two was bought. But here, let me look it up because I have the info right here. Square Enix was no Eidos was bought by.
No, Gearbox.
I think they bought Take. I can't remember. Was bought by. It was in. Had some other stuff in there. Because I remember the article I read was like, yeah, this was the acquisition war began with. Here, let me see. Gearbox is owned by. Gearbox owned by. All this stuff started with when 2K bought Zynga.
Yeah. Yeah. Take.
Okay, so 2K so yeah, it's 2K. 2K is the publisher
Yeah.
of Gearbox's games. They
Oh,
don't
okay.
necessarily own Gearbox. They
Oh,
just had a
okay.
really close relationship. And Gearbox was acquired by Embracer. So, you know,
Oh, that should be interesting. Maybe they can whip those people into shape and teach them how to optimize their games for PC.
well, what they need to do is fire Randy Pitchford. That's the first thing. We're going to teach you how to optimize to make your studio more efficient. Randy Pitchford, get the hell out of here. There you go. It's more efficient already.
Yes.
Randy Pitchford, I tell you, that man lives a blessed life because he has managed to dodge all types of scandals that other people would have been fired with. Like Randy Pitchford's just managed to dodge that stuff. Like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Hey, I left a hard drive that not only contained sensitive topics, but also my own porn stash
Oh
in a
my god.
restaurant, at a medieval times restaurant.
Why would you?
He
I don't
wasn't
understand. How would
fired.
you?
He wasn't fired.
Yeah, I don't understand. A, how you didn't get fired for that, and B, why, why would you forget something like that? Like, why
You
would
want to
you?
know
Why
how he
would?
wasn't fired? Because Randy Pitchford like owns like 30% of Gearbox in
Oof.
terms of private shares.
Yeah.
So if they fire him, they're going to have to give him a huge payout probably, and they probably don't want to do that. Why do you think they? Why do you think Randy Pitchford has been like they exiled him from Gearbox? They just exiled him away. Like he still works there, but they're like, yeah, we'll give you a you like you're in charge of this side project. They basically gave him busy work and sat him in the corner,
Yeah.
which is I mean like because Randy Pitchford is an albatross hanging on that hanging around that studio's neck because Randy Pitchford is problematic.
Yeah. Yeah. But like all the Borderlands games were relatively poorly optimized for PC. Oh
Yeah,
man.
it makes sense, and it
Especially
doesn't.
the
Well, you
TV.
know why that is, right?
Anti cheat software.
Yep,
Yeah.
anti cheat software. That's
Yep.
why it was poorly optimized because they wanted to make sure people weren't cheating. Didn't stop me from cheating. I still cheated and gave myself infinite gold keys
Yeah, because they want you to buy those off their store with real money.
or earn it. It's like so I spent $60 plus the $50 for the season pass for the ultimate season pass, and you want me to pay extra money for golden? No.
Yeah, that's enough. That's enough of that.
You must be insane.
Yeah, you're
You you must be out your as my mother used to say. You must be out your damn mind to think that I would do such a thing.
yeah. It's like, sir, I think you've had a little too much to drink. I think it's time for you to. I think it's time for you to go home.
Yeah, yeah,
that's that's how a lot of these
yeah.
companies think these days. Any other topics you'd like to bring up before we call it a night?
Uh, I only have one thing to say. It's an unpopular opinion, but I think it needs to be said. Um, recently, this weekend, I basically did nothing this weekend. I just sat on my behind and watched TV and anime and stuff like that. And I was watching, like I was on a Japanese ninja and samurai kick, so I watched Ninja Scroll, and Lone Wolf and Cub.
Yeah,
Ninja Scroll is the manga, is the anime, like rated R anime that came out in the late '80s, early '90s,
yeah,
and Lone Wolf and Cub is based on a manga that's really, really dark and gritty. Um, and I was thinking to myself, I said, you know what really brought down Naruto is that they wanted to have this power of friendship message that was gonna, tie everything together, and everything could be overcome through the power bond of friendship. I'm like like Naruto would have been such a better series, and they would have had a really good jumping off point for a sequel series if it had had a dark, gritty ending
yeah,
for Naruto Shippuden,
yeah,
and then like the sequel would have been okay, like this is the aftermath of a land that's been torn apart in this huge war, and everything they know has been a lie and has changed. Like what does it look like after that? Like what other things are going on? That would have been an awesome series. Instead, we got Baruto, which is just
yeah.
stupid.
lazy.
So, I mean, it's not like there's some things that are stupid that are fun, like Bobo Bo. Bobo Bo is stupid, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Rave Master is stupid, but it's fun. Psyche K is stupid, but it's fun. Or Gintama, stupid but fun. There is absolutely nothing like Boruto is just stupid and stupid.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's not fun.
It's stupid and it's lazy and it's not fun, which is just, you know, like if you're gonna be stupid, at least be fun. And if you're, no, go ahead.
Have you ever read the manga Vagabond?
Yes, I have. I like it. It's not my favorite samurai manga, but you know, it's pretty good for what it is. Yeah.
But anyway, got anything to pimp out?
Yeah. This is Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor of BS Busters. I hope you can join us tomorrow, where we will be doing the May the 4th cast, where we will be basically discussing all types of wonderful things on my channel pertaining to Star Wars. We're going to be talking about games, movies, our memories with the franchise, what would be our ideal Star Wars game, what character from the original series we feel needed a game about them, what got you into Star Wars, like what movie or TV show or whatever kind of you finally watched and you're like, yeah, I get people like this. And what franchise would you, what would the franchise have to do to win you back if you were like, you know what, this happened and I'm done? Like, what would they have to do? And this is, you know, this could be as unrealistic as you want it. It could be like, well, I want to see people get murdered. They need to bring back the violence and the darkness. Okay, go for it. Okay, sure. So yeah, that's going to be the May the 4th cast tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to it because, you know, I think it's safe to say that all of us have different things that we like about Star Wars. Everyone on the panel, like all of us have different states that we're in about the franchise.
And this is Kenosha Bonita here with the